Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. You find me in a unique location on site doing a bit of mobile welding repair through my Arc 1 welding business. So this was a Saturday job that, I was called in to help out a friend. By the way, these overalls that I'm wearing were for a company that I worked for. I have no association with them, so I'm not working under their branch. But yes, this was a Saturday that I came in to do some welding repair on basically a boiler room. Listen, this boiler room was going to crap and it just needed repairs. It needed, ultimately, the whole thing needs to be redone. But, you repair places as and when you can and how you can. Which is why you're going to see a few things that, you may not be, too terribly thrilled with. But, this isn't the fab shop anymore. This is on-site welding where things are leaking and you've got two options: fix it the best way you can or not. And that is what was basically the only options that we had to deal with. On site today with a buddy, doing a bit of fitting and stuff like that. Nothing too special in the boiler room. What I'm doing is pissing out. It's like a pinhole right there. So I'm just going to quickly grind it down and put 2 runs over this. I ain't going to spend too much time trying to sort it. I always say to people, welders are like doctors where you've got a duty of care. So this pinhole, yeah, maybe I could have welded over it. I was going to, but it looked like the material was too small. So what the alternative was, just cutting it off and capping it off with a socket. Nothing special. I just TIG welded the socket on, got a route around it, and something like this, it could have just been even a fillet weld on it, just because the two centers weren't perfect. So I could have even done a fillet weld, but nope, I done a bit of a gap, welded around it. I never captured the route on the inside, but rest assured, all you keyboard warriors, there was a route inside, even though the piece that I cut off had no root in it. And then, I don't know, it had some nasty crustiness inside of it that restricted most of the flow. Now, I don't know how old this boiler room is, but I was hearing things about nearly 100 years old, something like that. Just, it is old. Everything was rusty. Every surface was rusty. Everything was falling apart. Later on in the video, you're going to see a bit of galvanized unistrut completely rusted away. But it was disgusting. It was disgusting. That's all I can say. And for you lot wondering why don't I just stick weld it, why am I TIG welding it, is because I'm not good at stick yet. I can do certain things, but I'm not trying to turn something that's a small little easy job into something big and hard just because I decided to bring up the stick welder instead of the TIG. So nothing special, just welded around it. And then later on in the video, or in real life, I don't remember if I filmed it, that was just capped off. It weren't used, probably hadn't been used forever, so it was capped off, and I moved over to the next part.
Finger steam, you've got no play on anything. But it's literally blown out, it's blown the fucking gasket out there. Look, you see it's steating straight through. Guessing that was like that. Yeah, it's literally blown through. And the thing is, if that's.
So this was the part that I was a little bit unsure about. I don't want to be putting things out there that are just site secrets. I don't want to be putting things like this out there and being judged, saying, that's not how you do it, you should have done this, you should have done that. But let's see, maybe you'll see this video, maybe you won't. But ultimately that was pissing out for years, 10 years or something they said it was pissing out for. And The flange was maybe 40 mil from the top of the pipe, and then you can also see that the flange weren't even welded on the inside of the flange. So it's not pretty, but it is not leaking anymore. So you tell me that I've done a bad job. You know, it's not leaking anymore, and it couldn't have really been replaced without much effort. And also, who's paying for it? You know, everyone's coming down to do a certain job. Who's paying to do it? There's many different ways of doing the job. The fast way, the easy way, the cheap. No, I don't even know that saying, but you know what I'm saying anyway. Moving on to the next part. This was a seized bolt. Seized valve. Sorry. This was so I was called down there to be the welder. So I can't come down with all my welding kit. And obviously he's the pipe fitter. He was I was sub working for him, and he's dealing with all that stuff, and I'm just coming here with my welding stuff. I grabbed out my hammer and shim, you know, to give him a little helping hand. But this stuff here is just unrelated. What I needed to do next was a what was it? The condensed drain in the flue. Basically, it was leaking or dripping, or the valve broke, something like that, but it needed to be replaced. But for the life of us, we could not get the screwed barrel pipe out. So it was a 2-inch reducing down to like 15 mil, and yeah, we couldn't get it out. So the alternative was just cut it flush, prep the 2-inch socket, and just weld another socket right on top of that socket. Simple as that. It's not holding pressure, it's just a drain there. So yeah, anyone could have welded that, to be honest.
Got a screwdriver in my pocket. That's what we're doing, isn't it? No, that looks sad, doesn't it?
And put your finger in there.
That's why you should have drilled it out like I did, see?
Yeah.
That's it, see? Top tip.
Here's the part that I'm talking about. So the barrel was seized in there, and look at my hair eye level. Look how rusty that piece of flue is. It's funny replacing the drain at the bottom when there's moisture dripping out through that rust. Yeah, this is a really old place. And do not judge my stick welding skills. I do not stick weld. That's all I'm going to say. I don't stick weld. The reason why I'm stick welding now and not TIG welding is I'm a lot higher up on this platform. No, same height, sorry, but there isn't a ladder. It's, you know, when you have to climb through the platforms, and I weren't able to bring the welder machine up that you can see on the floor, my thermal arc. So yeah, I thought let me just bring the little portable the little portable thermal arc up there and weld it on. No pressure, just simple. One thing that I have been thinking about when it comes to, you know, being on social media and a welder and all that sort of stuff is the pressure to be the best at every type of welding at all levels at every single given time. So yes, there's a lot of pressure. I don't stick weld. I've only got certain disciplines, but obviously you have to be able to do it all in this game, I guess. But yeah, it's just a little bit stressful. I'm not the best, and I can't do everything. There's a lot of basic things I can't do, and there's a lot of advanced things that I can do just because I've done it over and over again. So yeah, I'm just putting that out there. The welds are not the best. Again, I don't call myself the best at everything.
Convinced me. Where is it? What's that? The tank. Yeah. Where's the number? I feel like a nice hot carrot.
The final job of the day was using this tool to measure the diameter of this pipe, just so I could make a replacement spool for this bellow in the laydown. And a bit of foreshadowing, at this point here, I did not know that I was to be the fool to be cutting out and replacing the bellow that you see tucked in, leaking. Now, it was a nightmare. It took me all day to do for one main reason. I just didn't have the right tools. I didn't do pipe fitting. I thought I was to be there with someone doing it, but turned out it was me doing it. So one, not having the right tools, and two, trying to so this is a steam line, and it was just pissing out a cloud of steam. So it had to be done in that day. There was no options, no if, no buts. So I was tackling it in a way that, okay, we can put a bandage on it if need be, but the moment you start attacking it and cutting it, you've gone past the point of no return. So I was trying to exhaust all options. First options, alright, loosen the bolts. Didn't work. Option 2, cut the bolts out. Alright, didn't work. Option 3, use a plasma cutter and cut the bellow out and smash out the flanges and do all of that sort of stuff, the most destructive stuff that you can do to it. But the problem with that, if it goes wrong, you're screwed. You are absolutely screwed. So if I had started with the plasma and was just attacking it first off, then I would have saved so much time. But because I was doing each step, that is what took the time. That is what dragged everything out, and the hole was flooded. And again, the tools I had were just, they were subpar. They were not good enough, but I managed to get it out. And this here is the replacement spool that I made the day before, that was going into that hole basically. If you haven't already seen this technique, I have a detailed video of basically making, this is what I call a stool piece, because you know you can sit on it like a stool. So what I basically done, I put some bolts inside the flange to lift the pipe off the desired amount, put a square on the back, and you do your first 2 sets of tacks, making sure that the pipe is square to the square and the square is square to the flange. You do that, you flip it 90 degrees, you do it the other way, so now you definitely know that your flange and your pipe's all true. Then what you do, you get a straight edge and you run the straight edge against 2 bolt holes, and that basically helps to make it more clear when you set the first pipe with the tacks on it on top of the second pipe. You can look through the 2 bolt holes at the top and look all the way through and line up the 2 bolt holes with the square, with the straight edge that you've put on the bottom. It's complicated to explain, but with you seeing the video and there being a link in the description for the full tutorial of it, it shouldn't be too hard for you to watch, and you can see how fast I fabricated this piece, and now it's a case of just welding it together. Let me know in the description what you guys, especially you boys in the UK, do for something like this. So I was welding it with 60-13 rods, 3.2 mils, but the problem is I obviously wanted to do 4 mil rods, but the machines, they just trip out, so you're having to do a whole bunch of start stops with the 3.2s, and you know how easy it is to get them cavities with the 3.2 rods, and I think I got a few of them on this one here. So yeah, what do you lot do? Is it just you struggle with a 3.2 mil rod and that is that, or do you, because you can't even, no, you definitely can't bump up to 4 because the machine duty cycle just will not last. This video is coming to an end now. It is done. The stool piece is done. The welds are okay, that's all I can say. They are okay, nothing good, nothing bad. Like here, you know, I'm doing my tie-ins, but anytime you put a grinder onto welds, they come out shit, you know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna quickly finish off cleaning up the last things using the file to, you know, get the edges. But yeah, it's in there. Not the best, not the worst, but I'm not a stick welder.